Hey guys, so here will be a review of the 150th Grove GMK 4115L produced by TWH. And overall, I would have never ordered this model. This one is actually purchased by my brother. And being that I would have never ordered it, I would have never seen how great this model was. Because overall, it's probably one of my favorite mobile cranes that is in my collection at this juncture. Although I do like the bigger mobile cranes, and I won't buy any small mobile cranes. I actually don't own any of the mobile cranes, honestly. My brother does. This one is one of my favorites, and it might be a reason why I'm going to buy possibly some of the live read ones, because even though the yellow is nice, the model is just so nice. I would like to have more of them. Also, the fact that there's just great features on it, and there's features from the model that most mobile cranes that are produced need them. So I'll get into that. So to start out with it, I have the crane boom lifted, no sections extending it, and I have the jib on it and the outriggers out to show you it. There really isn't any difference if the outriggers are in, but you know, slide them out and they click into position, which is nice. And if you look at the outriggers, you can see it's not threaded. They covered up the threads to make it look telescopic, which works perfect, and it gives the appearance of it, which is great. Really like how they do that. A lot of the crane manufacturers are starting to do that now. You can see the outrigger also has the caution tape, so to say, on it, the reflective stripes, and the warning decal on it. The front of the cab, which front of the model is probably my favorite part of it in visual looks wise. I personally like what they did over here. At first I wasn't a fan of it, but now that I have the model in person, it looks very nice. On the front of the model, it has all your decaling. You can see it has two windshield wipers, the Grove decal up there, Grove decal down there, and it also has this V-hook right here, and basically that's just if you have your boom down, you could put your hook on there and then bring up on the hoist, and when you transport the crane, the hook will be tensioned on there. You can see it has the lights on it and some vents which don't go through, but they're still visually there. It also has an antenna up top, which is extremely thin and delicate, and a warning light up top, which is really cool. Now obviously it's a newer crane, so you can see it has that new look to it, which I like a lot, and the model also gives that as well. Decaling is mint on this crane. Really like it a lot. The red GMK just gives it a nice look against the yellow. Now, when I got the model, I don't know if you could tell on some of the tires, but you could tell the tires aren't all black. There was a gray residue on them, and basically you could just get it off by wiping it with a rag. I don't think it has to be a wet rag, honestly. I was taking some of it off with my fingers, but the problem arises when it's in the treads. Try to get a better view. And you really can't get it out. Maybe if you wash it, but I haven't tried that yet, so I can't say for sure. But that's the only bad thing about it. And if you notice, when you turn one tire, all of them turn. And sometimes you gotta adjust all of them. But that is extremely nice. They don't turn too much. They turn enough, but not too much. You could also see the carrier has all diamond plate and it's chromed out, which just looks really nice. Great touch by TWH. It's got the ladders right here, and I assume those would be the controls for the outriggers. The back of the crane, you could tell, has a mud flap right here, and it does seem plastic. It doesn't seem rubber, so it won't really flap, so to say. Now I'll show you the top of the carrier, and more detail, since a lot of people like to see detail. So I'm just trying to focus it. So here's the top of the carrier, and for one thing you can notice there's a lot of chrome, and like I said previously, I really like the chrome on it. It gives it a real nice look. You can see it has it's actually hard to see from my position here, but it looks to be etched out over here. Obviously it doesn't go through because it's not a catwalk or anything. Metal exhaust, a tank, and the boom rest right here. And you can see where the boom actually rests on, they painted gray compared to where the rest is black. And the diamond plate runs over here as well. And you can see that copper colored pipe runs to the exhaust. That is also really cool. Now, the actual crane part is extremely nice. I don't know about you, but I really like the way this looks against the white background. It just, the color of the crane is just very nice. I like it better than the red, honestly. So the first thing, as most cranes do, the cab tilts, and I like that the cylinder is nice and stiff, so you can put it in pretty much any position possible. Now, I know it's obviously to scale, but the cab is really thin, like most mobile cranes, which I'm really not a fan of these small cranes, because one, it doesn't look out of scale, but you just fit the operator in there. Now the cab has lots of detail, and this is what I'm saying about this model. There's just a lot of detail on it, definitely worth the money. It's got the 2 lights, and it also has the VIN plate, which I don't know if you could see. I don't know if it actually does read anything, but it has a VIN plate, which is really cool. And I don't know what that says under there, but I can't even read it. It's so small, and that's Grove decal. And the catwalk along the cab is chromed out as well. It's got the windshield wiper, and it also has one up top, and it's got the metal handrails on the cab to get into the cab. Cab doesn't open, unfortunately. The inside of the cab basically just houses the seat and 2 controls. The side of the body leading to the back counterweights has more diamond plate chromed up top, the decal, and the steps, which they don't go completely through, but it'd be enough if a scale figure could get his feet through. Now, what's cool about this is they give you different handrails, and they give you one for transport and one from you're actually working with the crane, and it comes off. And you basically just put them in like that, and it'll stay in there, which is really nice. I like that a lot. It comes on and off, and it's metal, and that's what it looks like off. Now, the counterweights are really the only thing I wish they would improve, and that's more in the fact that to take these off, and I'm not going to do it in the review because it's simply going to take too long, you actually have to put the crane on its side and unscrew them. I had them off. They're extremely thin plates. They're not large at all, and I guess really to take them off would be kind of pointless. But if anyone does want to take them off, if you ever get this crane, you have to unscrew them from underneath. Now, spinning the crane. Here's the back of the crane, and you're probably wondering why there's a bunch of holes. This right here, as small as it is an extra counterweight. And I don't know why they even gave it, because it was small. I guess because the real machine has it, but you can see it's extremely small. This model has the option to add another winch onto the back into those 2 holes, so you could run a whip line. I guess you could have a block coming off the boom and then a whip line running off the jib. But the winch that came with this model is glued, so it won't spin. So we'll contact the TWH, and I'm hoping they'll send me a new one. So we'll see how that goes. You can also see the counterweight has Grove casted into it, like the real machine would. The hook actually just fell off the jib. So turning to the right side, you can see it's pretty bare. It's nothing crazy, just pretty much flat. It has more textured up top and more photo etched material up top. One cool thing about it is if you look right there, you can see the hand signals for the signalmen. If they do still use hand signals, I'm sure they do, but a lot is radio controlled. Or they talk through the radios, was what I meant to say. Swing motors for the crane, and the lines running to the swing motors. And what I really want to get across here is this model reminds me a lot of an Bigger Grove RT540 in the detail wise, because the 540E has a lot of lines, and you could see just from looking at this model there's a lot of hydraulic lines just running everywhere, which I like a lot. It really does add to the model. You could see all the lines running to the winch, and the winch, I wish they added a key to it, but they don't. You can see it's got two lights, and basically how you operate the winch is just with your finger, and it rolls smooth enough to where it's not annoying like the AC 500 drum. So even though they didn't give a key, it's easy enough to spin by itself. Now, two really cool features that they added, which I'm glad they did, but they could have added more, and I'm not complaining that they didn't. But what they did was, since these cylinders always go bad on these cranes, they gave you two options. They gave you two options of display. They gave you this little pin right here, and there's two holes in the cylinder, and you could just push down on it and it will hold it. So you won't have to worry about the cylinder sinking. They also give you another one down there which will bring it real low. And if I ever get an 11200, not to go off topic, I would definitely drill these small holes in the cylinders instead of buying the YCC cylinders for 110 bucks it is, because it really does work great like that. And I'm glad that they put those in there, because after having the Grove 540, I'm sure that they learned their lesson. Another cool thing that they added on the boom are these squares, and you're probably wondering what the squares are for. And what those are for are basically the same concept as the cylinders. It only works for the first section that telescopes out, or however extends out, and you basically just put this in here and you find on the boom where the hole is, and it'll hold it in position. And there's also one up top right there, and that'll bring it out of position, stretched out more, and this one's sucked in more. Now I wish they would have did that on every section, but they didn't, so nothing really you could do. And I'm glad they gave a square pin too. It's different. Now, the booms are just booms. There's really not that much detail on them. There's really not much I could go over on the booms. Here's what it looks like sucked in. I really don't like the way it looks sucked in, but that's transport mode, obviously. Now there's LMIs on the boom, which is really cool, and the spools. Unfortunately, they don't roll out. Honestly, wouldn't have expected them to, but it's a review of the crane, so I figured that I would say that. And it actually looks like a real LMI too, which is. And this one, spool right here, it does have real thread, which is really cool. Now, the head of the jib is what I was impressed with most, and that is simply because the amount of sheaves that's on the tip of the boom. There's a lot more than I expected, and I'm trying to get a better view for you. And here you could see a lot more sheaves than I expected, and they're not really spread apart and they don't move too much, which is nice. And you could also see the sheaves up top with a pin, which really doesn't do much, but I guess it matters that they put it there. And you can see these sheaves kind of want to move a lot, but I really like how they added a lot of sheaves right there. Not that you'd probably ever run that much line. Obviously sometimes you would, but not on the model at least, because it won't roll down. And how you put your jib on is real simple. 2 pins, 2 very long pins, and you could fold the jib in and hold it against the boom of the crane. And I can't even see what I'm doing, so that's why it's probably taking so long. And here we go. It is in. Now, one cool thing about the jib is you could run either the full jib like that, or you could take the jib off and run the little short tip. I mean, it's, what is it, 5 feet, which I don't see a point in doing, but it looks really cool. Never set it up like that, but I've seen pictures of it, and it looks really cool. You could also change the position of it by pushing down that cylinder, right, just pushing on the jib, and you could get some height in there for some radius, or you could just get strict height, like so. And the jib will fold in and everything. I'm not going to disassemble it because it does take a little time to disassemble, and I don't want to do that in the review. But overall, the build quality of the jib is great, and what I like what they did with the jib is they put white sheaves, which is really cool. And lastly, the hook on the crane. It's hard to focus because it's so small. Here's the hook on the crane. Only bad thing about it is the tie-off is huge. But besides that, it's a great little hook. It's actually a perfect size for the crane. It's not too big and it's not too small. The only thing I wish that it did was swivel on the block, but it doesn't, unfortunately, and there's really nothing I could do about that. And you can see it just got a single part line on it because it's coming off the jib. So now what I'm actually going to do is raise the boom up and tilt the jib to show you. Now, the crane does, for the crane size, I want to say the model goes probably 4.5 feet tall, which is really decent. I like it a lot. It's a lot taller than I thought it would go. There's a lot of sections to it, which makes it really nice. And it just seems like a perfect crane for small steel erection. I don't really see cranes this small around here. Obviously they're around, but normally I see like a tower crane on a job site or something. Honestly, this crane reminds me of something I would see out of state building like a Walmart or a shopping center because of its size and mobility and the fact that it could run single part line. Not like every crane can, but it is set up with one section out and the jib tilted to the lowest radius that it could go, set in a piece of iron. And I really like it with the jib attached. It's probably my favorite. And overall, just a fantastic model. So, in conclusion, I think they run for around 230 bucks. Sometimes you can find them less expensive, sometimes you can find them more. But if you shop around, you can probably find it for cheaper. Overall, if you're looking to get your first mobile crane, I would probably say this is great because there's no assembly required. Obviously, if you want to run the jib, you know, assembly, but nothing major. And it just has great features and great details. And it's not really too expensive for the average collector. I'm going to put the pins in the boom. So, they make several other liveries of this crane. I'm going to probably pick up the 5-axle one next. So, hope you like the review, guys. It really is a great crane model. It's one of my favorite mobile cranes that I currently own. well, at least in my collection. So hope you liked it, and hopefully I'll get that winch fixed.